this is Jordan, Jacob, and Mr. Scott with Animals in the Outdoors, and today we're going to be talking about bees and how they make honey.
Today what we're going to do is take the swarm that I took out of that hive and put into this temporary box into a permanent box. Now, I'll give you a little background. You asked about a swarm. These are all bee homes, and each home has so much space, and the queen lays eggs and grows the hive. But they're kind of small. And when it gets to the point that the queen runs out of space, she says, I need a bigger place. So they send out scout bees, and they find another hole in a tree, a hole in a house. They'll find some place where they can go and have more space to live in. That's called a swarm. The queen leaves with half of her bees. I don't want any of my hives to swarm. I work hard to get all these bees and pay a lot of money to get all these bees, and I don't want to lose them. Fortunately, they leave clues as to when they're going to swarm. You see, a hive can't do anything without a queen. And if the queen leaves with half the bees, what happens to the other half?
They really don't know what to do.
They're dead. So the queen leaves a special cell in the cup that raises a new queen in her place. When I go through my hives like I'm going through today, and I check all of my hives, if I see one of those signs that says something's going to happen here, half are going to disappear, I can intervene. And the way I intervene, I decided to fake a swarm. I captured the queen, and I took half the bees, and I put them in this box right in here. And this became my 10th hive. I couldn't put them in a real hive. So I put them in what's called a nuke, a nucleus. And it's just a little cardboard box. That's not a permanent place for them. So I bought some more pieces. That covers the swarm, and that covers today's main objective. First thing I'm going to do is get some smoke going. As you've seen, even without the smoke, the bees are very calm. I'm not the least bit concerned about them. Yes, if I'm going to do a lot of work down here, I will put a suit on. But since you don't have suits, I won't wear suits. What I will do is give them some smoke. And the reason I do that is because when they smell smoke, they go into survival mode. They go and they take honey and eat as much honey as they can, and they think they're going to have to flee, so they take food before they go, and that really calms them down. So when I go visit a hive for the first time, I'll start by just putting a little puff in the entrance, and that lets them know that I'm here. These are my tools. This is a frame gripper that allows me to carefully examine my frames. And this is a hive tool. These boxes get stuck together. It allows me to pry them apart. It allows me to loosen my frames. The bees will get them all stuck together in there. I can clean things out with it. It's just a great tool that every beekeeper uses. The hive that we're going to put together uses a number of different pieces. This is the base, the bottom board. On top of that, we will put that box. Thank you, dear. This is the hive body. You will find these in different shapes. Actually, Jordan, if you'll show the size of that one, just hold it right like that. That's perfect. You can see that's a smaller box. That's for a different purpose. So this hive body goes on, and we give the bees a head start with frames. So this would be an empty frame that the bees will build wax out onto. I will put 9 or 10 of those in a hive body like this. Then I will put an inner cover on that allows for ventilation and humidity control, things like that. And then I will put an outer cover on that makes it waterproof and provides thermal protection as well. The queen is bigger than all the other bees. And all she does is lay eggs. We have two separate compartments. I'm just going with the real simple explanation. One compartment is for the queen laying eggs. The second compartment is for the bees giving me my honey. If I put this compartment on top of that, the queen will come up and lay eggs in our honey. This is a queen excluder. It allows all the bees to crawl between these cracks. Except one bee can't make it through. Which one do you think that one is, Jordan?
The queen bee?
That's right. She's too big. She can't get through. So I put this on top. These are called supers, where the honey goes. And now the bees that bring in the nectar bring it up here. They don't bring any pollen up there. The queen can't lay any eggs up there. It's just pure goodness. So this is how the hive will end up, and those are the body parts. And the bees come in here, and I can make that opening as big or as small as I want by just covering some of it up. And so this is an example of a nucleus. It's a 5-frame nucleus. It's a wax cardboard box. Has an inner cover, an outer cover, the frames, an entrance, and ventilation. Similar, you can see the difference between the frame I showed you before. This one's yellow and no real major difference. This one is yet another style, and it's a wax foundation that gives the bees a little something to work from. It gives them a head start. These all have beeswax painted right on them, and this would be all beeswax. And they also have, they either have wires running through them or plastic behind them, all to keep them strong, because otherwise if it's just wax, they could crumble. So I use these as swarm traps as well. That's how I've caught several swarms in these, where I put my chemicals in here. I put at least one frame of comb in here, and I just let them sit out, just around the property, and every once in a while they will arrive and make it home, and then I bring them back here and get them set up permanently in a real box. So I am now going to take this box over here and give these bees their new home. And we'll start by letting them know I'm here. I have to leave the box basically right where it is, so all the bees that are out gathering nectar right now and pollen will know where to come back. You can see I've got one that's spending some time with me, and I just kind of ignore them. You know, if I get stung, I get stung. It's no big deal. If they get real antsy for some reason, we'll just say that's enough for today, but I'm not too worried about it. So I'll bring these parts over as we go. And I already have some frames in there, so I don't need a ton. And I like putting in a variety of frames. You can see I've got the plastic black, the plastic yellow, the straight wax. I'm kind of experimenting to see which ones they like best and build out best. That's the idea. I believe I have 4 frames in that nuke. I'm going to put those in here, and I'll probably put one more frame in then. So let's get things rolling. And as far as your standing position, whatever you're comfortable with is fine with me. So I'm going to slowly slide this box over. All right. That will be the new home. I'll get it level. It's very important that it's level, that you check the level on both dimensions. Then I'll put on the hive body. See, the bees are already coming back over here thinking, where's my entrance? And now we'll go into the box itself. We'll see how happy they are. So far, so good. Now, I think I see a souvenir in here for you. Bees do not like empty space. They don't like gaps in the wood. They fill it up with propolis. They don't like light coming through. If they see empty space, they fill it. I have put 4 frames in a 5-frame nuke. That means 1 frame is empty. They don't want that. They're going to fill it up. What you just saw me bring out is the result. I'm going to put that lid over here and preserve that piece, because that's a souvenir. Since I was here a couple of days ago, they built all of that out to fill that hole. If you look in that plastic box there, you'll see there's 1 hole. And that's what they filled up with wax. Okay, that's probably close enough, and I think you probably want to go away now.
Yeah.
You're very brave, though. Great job. Photographer like that, that's what you need. So, once again, calm my bees down a little bit, and they're doing very nicely, by the way.
Are they normally not this nice?
Pardon me?
Are they normally not this nice?
They're normally like this. This is normal.
Okay.
So one by one, I'll take the 4 frames. And put them to their new home. And I'll show you some things about the hive as I do. Before I leave being right over the top of the hive, I'm checking to see if the queen might be on here. Very important to know. And
Will the queen be on one of those frames?
yes, the queen is on one of these frames, yes. So, for right now, I'm going to put this frame in, but I am going to bring a frame over and show it to you on film in the sunlight in a moment or two. By the way, she could be on here and I just don't see her. Very possible, but these would help. you'll generally see I use very slow, gradual movements. No reason to startle them. Well, no sign of the queen yet, but there's one more frame, and then we may just end up going back through them again.
Okay.
All right, that's right, I put a small one in here, I forgot about that. To try and fill up the space because I didn't have any more frames. Okay, this is an interesting frame because it's all honey. And I put it in there just because I wanted to make sure they had enough nourishment. Now, the queen could still be in the box, which I'm not seeing. So, we're going to look through these again.
So now how did you get into being a beekeeper?
My neighbor got me into beekeeping. He has passed away at about age 93, and Mr. Hillary has been keeping bees for, I don't know, maybe 35 years or so.
Oh, wow.
And I started helping him, and then he got to the age where, well, actually I should say he started helping me, and then he got to the age where I started helping him. So he was right across the street. He was the best. Now, where is our queen?
Is the queen definitely in that box?
Well, if this box doesn't have a queen, this box is in trouble. And the way that I can answer that is to say, if I see eggs in here, I have a queen. I haven't actually looked for eggs yet. But the answer is yes. I'm quite sure. I saw her a week ago. And back to the eggs question. Let's see if we've got eggs. Eggs are very difficult to see. They look like a piece of rice. They are stuck to the bottom of the frames. And it's interesting, I'm not seeing any eggs. So we're going to just keep looking here a little bit.
What do you call a hive that has no queen?
Queenless.
Queenless, okay.
In trouble.
Can you get a queen for that hive?
Well, yes. Now I see all kinds of, let's see here. I see very, very young larvae, which means I've had a queen here within the last 3 days or so. And the question is, do I still have one today? So I'm looking for, 1 day old eggs, and now I see them. So I do have a queen. And I would show you an egg, but you just won't be able to see it. And I can't see it without my glasses. So I have a queen, and now I'm just trying to find her so you can see her.
Now, how much larger is a queen compared to like a male? Like twice the
Well,
size?
that's interesting. You asked two questions kind of there. By the way, this queen is laying a beautiful pattern. Now you can see, once an egg is laid, the female bees, I believe it's about 17 days until they hatch. Boy, when you're on film, you darn well better have your facts straight. I think it's 17 days, and I think it's 21 days for a male bee to hatch. All of these are female bees. As a matter of fact, I don't know that I've seen any drone cells, male cells, in here. If I find one, I'll show you. And as I look in the sunlight into the bottom of these, she's laying a very good pattern. It means she's a good queen. She goes hole to hole, cell to cell to cell, and lays an egg. It's not just here, here, here. It's solid. As a matter of fact, if you look at this frame, you can see how solid that is. And the ones that aren't capped have eggs that they just haven't capped yet. So she's hitting every frame. This is a really good queen. And I knew she was a good queen because she so filled up that box that she ran out of room. So I knew I had good genetics in this queen. I wanted to keep her. I did not want her to swarm and leave. Now where is she?
So that's all eggs, not honey?
That's correct. I'll show you honey in a minute.
Okay.
Unbelievable. But you know, when you've got thousands of bees and you're looking for just one, and honestly, okay, so I'll show you. These are male bees. This one right here looks different. Here's a male bee. They're much bigger. Male bees, where did it go? A male bee, yeah, I was going to try and grab one there. Male bees don't have stingers, just like mosquitoes. And so sometimes beekeepers will have fun. They'll grab a male bee, pop them in their mouth, and then let them fly out and just kind of freak people out. But they know there's nothing that the male bees can do. And they're extremely sterile. Very clean inside of a hive. Well, I still haven't found the queen. I know she's in here because I see eggs.
Now, in just this small area, how many bees do you think are in here?
Well, on one of these frames, there are two sides. Each side has 4,500 cells. As I showed you this, there's probably 4,000 of those that have eggs in them right now. They all hatch within 17 days. I've got 9 or 10 frames in every box, and I've got a total of 10 boxes. So Jordan's the math wizard. She can tell you how many that would be. Just kidding. Lots. Just say lots.
Lots.
Lots. There are, at one point, I calculated I had about 250,000 bees. I don't know how that compares to where I am today, but it's a lot. Now, I really wanted to show you the queen. I don't have to see her. As long as I know I have eggs, I don't have to find her. But it would be cool to see on film. And by the way, there's still a piece in here as well that she could be on. That could be the secret.
There's a few.
Let me first see in the sunlight if she's laying eggs in here or if they're just putting in nectar. She is laying eggs in here. Wow.
There's a bunch of bees piling up on this side.
Yeah. They're probably not real thrilled with me at the moment. At least this one around my face isn't. Well, I am not seeing her. And there's a piece in here that broke off that she could be on as well. So here's another piece of comb. No queen on this piece. And she's definitely laying eggs in there. We'll just leave that piece over here for the moment. And there's definitely also honey in that piece. Never waste. So I have a frame full of honey in here, the little frame. It fell over on its side, so now I got to get it out. This might not be fun.
You get stung?
No, but when they vibrate on you, it gets your attention. Okay. So what I'm going to do is something interesting here. This frame is not going to stay in this hive, so I'm going to shake the bees off and then let you look and taste the beauty, the beauty. So now I'm doing something that's probably, again, going to stir them up a little bit. I would not normally do this, but it's an important part of the tour, so get some good smoke here. So what I'm going to do is shake the bees off. And they didn't really complain. So let's go into the sunlight. Look at that glorious, oops, see I'm tipping it on the side so it's dripping out. So right now it's still nectar, which means it's very watery. But you can see it's all in there. You know, I used to say scuba diving was the most incredible display of God's creation until I got inside a beehive. What happens in here is unbelievable, and I could just go on. But this, as you can see from all the little drips that just came out when I tipped it a little, when they put it in, it's like water. Well, what happens when you put water into a hole like this?
It drips out.
It drips out. So, what do the bees do? They build every one of these combs, I think at about an 11, 12 degree angle, so all the liquid stays inside. Then, it's water. It's not honey, it's nectar. So they fan it with their wings. They fan it with their wings until it gets to 17% humidity. Then they say it's perfect. And you see these little wax caps on here?
Yeah.
They put that on and say, now it's honey. And it'll stay that way as long as they keep it that way. So this is how they feed their babies. This is how they make it through the winter. I can also show you, and maybe we'll do that in a separate video, a couple of other things. So these combs do 4 things. They put in nectar and turn it into honey. They put in pollen and use that as their protein. And they put in female eggs and raise their worker bees, and they put in male eggs and they raise their drones, their male bees. Now, if you look, actually you can see, if you look in here, you can see those colors. That's pollen. And right now you can see only like 3 different colors. You have a bright orange, a yellow, and kind of a white. I've even got some black pollen in here. I don't even know what it comes from. But I've seen some beautiful bright red. When the bees come in, a lot of times you'll see on their hips, well, their saddlebags, maybe over on this hive, you'll see them coming in with bright balls of color on the sides of their body, both sides. See if we can see one here. Right now they're bringing in nectar, not pollen, but there will be some pollen coming in. We may just have to watch that for a little bit to actually see it. But those are the 4 things that they will put into these combs. So because they've built comb, they've put nectar in it, they've put eggs in it, I'm going to cut it to this frame and support it with these rubber bands and keep it in the hive. That's the next project. Now, this is getting kind of invasive. I don't know if they're going to like this or not, but I'm going to do it anyway. Smells good, doesn't it?
What type of wood is that?
It's just pine shavings. Now, it's also possible that the queen is still in here. And so what I'm going to do now, since I have to do it eventually anyway, is I'm going to take this box and turn it upside down on the hive. I'm not going to shake them all out. That would stir them up a little bit. I'm just going to gently let them make their way down into their new home. That wasn't bad. Now I think when we turn that box over, chances are it will be empty. Now to this box. But especially if I have a queen in here, that becomes important. Ooh, I missed a lot of them over here, but that's okay, they'll get in. Okay, so that gives me much better working access. You know, this is stuff I really don't do every day, really don't do very often at all.
This is like a once a year thing.
I can't think of the last time I've transferred frame comb like this. Still a good bunch of bees on here, so we're going to shake it one more time. That's pretty clean. Pretty clean. Now I can scrape this comb off. top of the frame give me dimensions. I just don't like being sticky. Good. And now I can slice the frame, the comb, to the dimensions of the frame.
How many gallons or quarts or whatever you use, how much honey do you get per year?
Well, I'm hoping for 40 gallons this year.
Okay.
If everything goes according to plan, that would be a beautiful year. So I'm now slicing this to fit inside this frame. There are lots of eggs and lots of nectar in here that I will let them keep. And as far as the rest of this, no eggs. Yeah, there are some eggs, but basically no eggs, no honey. So this is a Jordan souvenir. You may want, and you'll want to hold it gently. So now all the bees have crawled into the box. That's good. So I can now take this frame and put it right into the hive. That's not a long-term solution, and in a lot of cases I would just let it go to waste, but I thought it'd be interesting for the video. So let's finish this hive up. The way I'm going to do that is by adding a little smoke, shaking these bees in, shaking those bees in, putting the rest of the hive together, and saying the hive is good to go. So I would say stay away at this point. They're probably not going to like this, but alright, so first thing, shake these down in. Well done. Not happy?
Do you worry about killing any of the bees?
Yes, I do. I do not like to kill one single bee. I always worry about it. When I put my hive components together, I'm very careful. That's easy to pinch even when I put a frame in, I can pinch them on the sidewall. When I put a box on top, I can pinch them. There's a lot of ways you can kill bees. And everyone matters as far as I'm concerned. Now we'll do it again. You can imagine how easy it would be to squish a bee when I do this.
But it is kind of inevitable because they do kind of crawl everywhere, right?
Yeah, it's going to happen. And when if you've got 250,000 bees and you lose one or two, you lose one or two. Remember, they die every 42 days anyway.
Are bees in danger?
Pardon me?
Are bees in danger?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we beekeepers lose probably 30% of our hives every year. And all the chemicals that the farmers are using make it tougher and tougher and tougher for the bees. And which is unfortunate because those farmers need the bees to pollinate their crops. So, but they also have to get rid of weeds. I was also going to say, I have two friends that are much better beekeepers than me. One that lives a couple miles that way, one that lives in Kernersville. And they had, my buddy Mark had 9 hives last fall. All 9 of his died over the winter. My buddy Chuck had 10 hives. All 10 of his hives died. I had 7 hives, and 2 of mine died. And my nephew Johnny had 1 hive, and he still has 1 hive. So for some reason, we did a little better here than up there and there, but it happens every year. It's very sad. Very, very sad. But that's just the way it goes.
What causes the hives to die?
Well, a lot of times we don't know. A lot of times it's mites. A lot of times it's wax moths. A lot of times it's beetles. Let's stay back for a second here. I'm going to shake these in. Ready? The rest of them will find their way in. Now I can place one more full frame in here and the frame we just created, and I can close it up.
Are the mites and beetles and stuff the bees' predators?
Yes, the mites will kill the bees. There are 2 types of mites. They will kill bees. Beetles will kill bees. Well, they don't really, they take over the hive. They do a lot of damage. And the wax moths will kill the bees. Yeah, those are predators, I guess you could say.
Now, I don't remember if we asked you, but how long have you been a beekeeper?
I have been a beekeeper probably 6 years now, I'd say. Can you see the white in there are the eggs? They turn into larvae, and then they get capped like this. Drone. Here's one drone. That one right there, that big one, that's a male.
Have you found the female yet?
The queen?
Or the queen?
No. I'm going to take one last look though.
How did you know the hives died? Was there like not any bees in there?
Correct. Yep, no bees.
Well, wouldn't you find like dead corpses of bees?
Sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. And when my hives have died off, the year before I had 7 hives and all 7 of mine died. And I did not find any dead bees.
Where do they go if you don't find the dead bees?
Just don't know. Just don't know. So you want a picture of Jordan holding a frame?
Sure.
Okay, we'll take one that doesn't have many bees on it.
Take one
and
that
we'll
it's
bring it
gonna-
over here in the sun.
Take one that's filled with bees.
Well, we do it this way just in case. Just in case she drops it, then there's not many bees on it. Okay, so You can grab with one hand right here. Real tight. Got it tight?
Yeah.
Other hand.
So you're not going to close the hive up?
I'm now going to close the hive up. I am going to put the excluder and then the super on top. So this piece is the queen excluder, which will keep the queen down below. This is where I try very carefully not to kill bees. This is where they will put my honey. I have just pulled these frames out of the freezer so that if there were any little bugs in there, they're all dead. My honey goes in there. This is an outer cover that will let them control temperature and humidity. That's the inner cover. This is the outer cover. We put a weight on top so the raccoons can't touch it, and we are done.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching with Animals in the Outdoors. And we'll have to give a special shout out to Mr. Scott for teaching us all about bees and letting us have this swarm trap so we can get a swarm for him, hopefully. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification so you won't miss another YouTube video. Like the video, and see you next time with Animals in the Outdoors. Bye!
Oh, is that pretty? He's really brave. This is where it happens. So I put in a frame, a foundation like that. They will slowly build out honeycomb. They'll add their wax to it. Is that not beautiful? All that white is their wax, so you can see they're already putting nectar in it.
So that isn't that isn't fake wax?
No, well, it's foundation like that. You can see the black over here.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that white,
all that
that
I
white.
start with. See the black in the corner?
Yeah.
That's what it starts with. They add all the white. They make that wax.
That's really interesting.
So you can see how I'm going to hold it over here if you want to take that angle. Take it from over there. You can see how they build this out. They'll just keep building as far as they can. All this in here is capped. It's at the right, that is official honey right there. And so I told you earlier that you couldn't really tell the honey on the other frame when you stick your finger in because that was just nectar. But now you can stick your finger in.
Right here?
Right in there, yeah. Now lick that. Jordan dear, same thing?
I'm gonna start buying honey from you instead of the grocery store.
That's the real thing.
It's good, honey.
Yeah, I'm gonna start buying honey from you instead of the grocery store.
Well, there is a big, big difference. I can assure you that. And one of the things that, that I like to do is I don't filter it, I don't pasteurize it. You don't want to put heat on it and kill all the good stuff.
You just leave it?
It's raw, local honey. What's the pollen that's in this area is the pollen that is in this hive. So that's how they put it in.
The honey too?
That's what you see in here is actually pollen. And
But at like the top right there?
yeah, that's honey all the way up. I mean, all the way up to here. This is all. You could just wipe that off with your finger if you want. Just take that whole piece off. Just pull it off. And just put it right in your mouth. And that's so. In probably within a week, the rest of this will all be capped, and that tells me it's all perfectly finished. And then I will harvest it. Now, what's interesting, this box is almost full. All the way to the end frames, it is loaded with honey, and our real nectar flow hasn't even begun yet. When the poplar starts to blossom, those big beautiful yellow flowers start to fall, they will fill up this entire box. They could fill it up in 7 to 10 days.
Wow.
That's more than 2 gallons of honey in each of these 10 boxes in 10 days. And then I'll put more on. Or sometimes I'll stack 2 or 3 on top of these so they can just keep adding them in.
Now, do they dance? Do they dance and tell each other where to go?
They dance outside the hive. So you'll see, when a new bee hatches, a bee will last for 42 days. Will live for 42 days. The first 21 days, they stay in the hive. They have very specific jobs. They all do exactly what they're supposed to do. The last 21 days, they're out flying. At day 22, when they're ready to go out, they come to the hive. They do their little dances and they kind of say, oh, this is where I live, so when I go out, I know where to come back. So, yes, they will do that. And if they find something, they find a great source of nectar, they come back, they tell the other bees by their dances. I would show you their dance moves, but you'd have to edit it because it would be bad footage. But they have their old little dance moves, and they tell the other bees exactly where to go.
So, is that all bees 42 days or just...
All bees.
Okay, even the queen bee?
No, queen bee lasts for years. Years.
Never waste.
Pardon me?
I just said never waste.
Never, well, yeah, plus I just don't like getting sticky stuff all over me. So she can last for years. Some beekeepers will replace her after a year or two. As a matter of fact, when the queen hatches, and I just hatched a queen in that hive because they left queen cells, swarmed, raised up their own queens. So when that queen hatches, after a couple of days of getting organized, she'll fly out and fly way up in the air, and she'll mate with several drones. And that's the only thing the drones are good for, mating the queen. And then they die, the drones die. And the queen has enough eggs in her to lay 1,000 eggs a day for years. For years in that one place. She'll never leave the hive again unless she swarms. Amazing. That's why she's so big.
Now, do they swarm because they run out of room?
They run out of room.
Okay.
They run out of room. And
Can you like show with your hands how big she is, or is she not that big?
she's that big. A regular bee, this big. Queen bee, maybe that big. There are different kinds of bees. Russian bees, Italian bees. I have Italian, and so the queens are going to vary depending upon the species. But the Russians are real good honey gatherers, but they're also kind of mean. Well, they have a reputation for being more aggressive. I wouldn't come out here and do this if these were Russian bees, probably. Although I have a buddy who has Russian bees and says they're pretty calm.